Today we find ourselves in one of the 7 Arab Emirates. This is Dubai, and these waters run right through the middle of the city. Once upon a time there was a family of engines, the Verados, powerful, quick, dependable. But in amongst them there was a black sheep, a racing engine, the 350 SCI, 350 horsepower. It was the most aggressive, nastiest of all of them, and so it was kept apart from all the others, reserved for only the bravest of pilots, those who knew its character traits. Now there's a new 350 horsepower. It's even more aggressive, even more dependable, to the point that it is part of the family of recreational products, i.e. the pleasure cruisers, but it always has its racing characteristics. For example, it weighs 303 kilograms and kicks out 350 horsepower, which means that it has a record-breaking weight-power ratio, 1.15 horsepower per kilo. But above all, it's slim, which means 2 can be mounted close together, with a wheelbase of just 66 centimeters. The engines are compact, so there's a more concentrated push, which means better results, even sticking to the route better. They've increased the airflux at the entrance of the engine. The air comes in here, at the back, then runs through these tubes, which have been designed to reduce turbulence, so the flux is faster and more compact. More air means more oxygen, so there's better combustion, better results, more push. Alright, a quick look underneath is enough to understand that this engine has a racing transom. The blade is sharp to minimise resistance, but it's also very long, with a reduction ratio of 1.75. This number tells that the propellers go very fast, just shy of 175 times less than a crankshaft. And if the propeller goes fast, it's only natural that the boat goes fast. But you need to have good control of the boat too. The engines need to be part of the boat. The tiller needs to be precise. So these guides are needed that they've put on the shaft, which were on the last version. But they've been improved on and stop the outboard moving from side to side, oscillating. So the pilot feels better, much better. Mercury are way advanced on this. There's just one more area of the engine I want to talk to you about, which is the advanced midsection. In this area, the monoblock is on, which benefits from its anti-vibration system, which I can say is perfect. It stops all vibrations. The engine is absolutely still. The difference from the other 4-stroke engines is that you can feel them, especially over 2,000 revs, but at any speed really. If you put 2 engines in, don't forget the coupling bar, which will give you more directionality, more stability and more safety. These are things that give away the builder's experience in racing.
Quelli dello stabilimento Mercury hanno compiuto uno scippo, hanno rubato.
Mercury have had a light bulb moment. They've stolen this engine from their Mercury racing cousin, which makes it accessible for all pleasure boaters.
Ora però,
so let's try it out. We've left downtown centre and we're on our way into the open sea to try out this Verado 350 horsepower. Dubai is the best place to try out such an edgy, powerful engine. Once these engines were made for those who wanted to race. Now everyone can have them. And Mercury guarantees them for 5 years, even on these outboards.
È un tranquillo motore da diporto.
It's quiet cruising engine. Well, quiet's not the word.
Ne abbiamo tre da
We've
dire.
got 3 of them at the back now, 1,050 horsepower in total. You'll be asking why there are 2 levers.
Perché il motore centrale viene ingranato soltanto quando andiamo con...
Because the central engine is only engaged when we go full speed ahead. Otherwise, when manoeuvring, we only use the side ones. So it's managed well. And of course, you can always add a joystick and piloting on this version.
Per provare questi 3 motori da 350 cavalli Verado Mercury abbiamo a
To
disposizione...
try out these 350 horsepower Verado Mercury engines, we've got an IMG 400 XS from a local and one of the best boatyards in the area. It's a 40-footer with 1,050 horsepower at the stern.
Pensate che questo motore nella versione racing arriva a...
This engine is the racing version. It gets up to 400 horsepower, so 350 is a doddle, more or less.
È un motore leggero e potente.
It's a light but powerful engine, a dream for all engineers and sailors alike.
Quando avete una forza così alle vostre spalle,
With power like this behind you, there's no problem planing with any boat attached. Even a heavy fisherman could do it.
la carena di questo scafo ha una V
The
strettissima.
hull of this boat is a very sharp V, not really apt for speed. More for choppy seas, but this isn't a problem with 3 350 horsepower Verado engines.
Ho dato un po' di flap per
I used the flaps to help it plane, but now I'm taking off and we'll accelerate.
Siamo a 4.000 giri minuto e la velocità è di 40 miglia per ora. A questa
We're going 4,000 revs a minute and the speed is 40 miles an hour. At this speed, petrol consumption is 34 gallons an hour. Not much really. Divided by 3 engines means just over 10 gallons each an hour.
E poi dovete considerare una cosa, il consumo...
But then you need to consider something. Consumption in gallons per hour or litres per hour. It's all relative, depending on the type of engine, and serves to define the characteristics of the outboard independently of the type of boat it's installed on.
Però c'è molta differenza perché se avete una barca veloce consumate
There's a
meno.
lot of difference though, because if you want a fast boat, you consume less. If you have a heavy boat with a deep hull, you consume a little more. So consumption is read in miles per litre. That is, how many miles you do with 1 litre of petrol.
Mi sembra di essere alla guida di una monoposto di Formula 1, tanto è preciso il timone.
Seems like I'm at the helm of one-seater Formula 1 car. The tiller is that precise, all thanks to the Mercury driving system. Fantastic! Then they've linked the 3 engines with a tear bar to stop them shaking or vibrating. It's the same effect as a tie bar on a rally car.
Mettetela, è utile.
Very useful in terms of safety too.
C'è un modo per capire se questi motori non sono solo potenti, ma
There's a
hanno
way of understanding if these engines are not only powerful but have lots of torque, which is enough strength to push even big boats, heavy and long.
ed è questa la maniera per provarli.
And this is how to test them out. Make them do a tight turn and see what happens to the middle engine, the more submerged one that's been sacrificed more.
Allora, sta girando a 4.100 giri minuto.
So it's revving at 4,100 revs a minute. The central one is at 4,100 and the left one is at 4,100 too. So I've turned and not lost any revs, even on the middle one. Fantastic.
Nel frattempo siamo arrivati a 50 miglia. Che meraviglia!
And in the meantime, we've got up to 50 miles. Marvellous. The engines are at 5,000 revs a minute. Consumption has increased to 50 gallons an hour. I can hear them singing.
Adesso invece li facciamo stonare un po'.
So let's bring them down a pitch or two. I want to see if they get to their max revs.
Allora siamo a 6.000 giri e do un po' di
And we've got 6,000 revs, so I'm going to give it a bit of trim. I like it. I can hear the boat better now too. It's light on the water.
Oh, si vola sulle onde!
Oh yes, it goes on the waves. Marvellous.
E nel frattempo siamo arrivati al massimo regime.
And in the meantime, we've got to the maximum, 6,400 revs. No, 6,500, and we're going 66 miles an hour. Fantastic.
Chissà se si può fare di più.
Who knows if it can do more? You can put trim on these engines whenever you want. The propellers can always handle it, always push, because they're Mercury propellers. Even the transoms have been made so the propeller always has a homogenic flux to work with, which is great advantage when you're going fast. The regress, that is, the propeller slip, is minimum, and so the boat goes like this, 67 miles an hour. There it is.
Una volta i motori Mercury li chiamavano Black Engine perché erano solo neri. Adesso li potete...
At one time, the Mercury engines were called black engines because they were black. Now, though, you can find them in white and two-tone. But it's in their DNA. These engines were born to run.